So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover that day's newspaper in a very short span of time within 20 minutes. Now, today we are going to cover the newspaper of 30th July 2024. And here are the important topics that featured in today's paper. So, these are the topics that we have to cover today. Today's topics. Now, Quad on Ukraine war. Now, the Quad grouping, Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, of which India is also a part, has given its statement on Ukraine war. Basically, what happened was that Quad grouping's foreign ministers meet happened in Tokyo. So, in that meeting, S. Shankar, India's foreign minister, made some statements about Russia's Ukraine war. So, we'll talk about this. Then, Venezuela poll results were out, and the existing president was elected as the president, but the election results are being questioned by the opposition members and various countries, including USA. So Venezuela became the talk of the town, and it is very important because it is a major oil producer. So that is why we are going to talk about this. Then recently, Israel has alleged that its territory in Golan Heights, Israel's territory in Golan Heights, was attacked by Hezbollah. Okay, a militant group supported by Iran, and the attack happened on Israel's territory in Golan Heights, and 12 children died because of that. So we'll talk about Israel-Hezbollah conflict because Israel has said that it will attack Hezbollah, and Iran has said that if Israel will attack Hezbollah, then there are going to be consequences. So this new front of war is coming up. So we'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about RBI's report on currency and finance 2023-24, in which RBI has talked about digitization of finance or digital payments. All right. So we'll talk about all these four issues. Let's start with issue number one, which is on Ukraine war. So 3 weeks after Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow, India joined USA, Australia, and Japan in the Quad grouping Monday to express its deepest concern over the war raging in Ukraine. So just 3 weeks after meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, India has said that it is concerned with respect to Russia's attack on Ukraine. Now, that is why it's a major thing, because 3 weeks back, India was with Russia. Now, India is saying that it is concerned with the Russian war in Ukraine. So now, what has Quad said? Okay, first of all, it has said that it is concerned with respect to Russia's war in Ukraine. The other things that Quad has said is that it is committed to free and open Indo-Pacific. Okay, again, it's an indication towards China's expansionist mindset in South China Sea. Then it has also said that we vow towards working a region where no country dominates others. That means, again, a reference to China, that China is dominating other countries, and each state is free from coercion in all its forms. Okay, so these are the things that Quad has said. Now, Quad is a grouping of Australia, USA, Japan, and India. Okay, and what is important for us in this news item is, what is Quad? All these announcements were made in Quad's foreign ministers meet. But what is Quad? That is important. None of this is important. Okay, so what is Quad? Its official name is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, known as Quad, and it is a strategic security dialogue between Australia, India, Japan, and USA. So it's a grouping of four countries. They call themselves that it is a grouping of four democracies which are against autocracies. Basically, Quad is a kind of grouping which is generally considered to contain China or in response to China's expansionist mindset. Okay, now their declared aim is free, open, and prosperous Indo-Pacific, a reference towards China. Okay, now this grouping was formed in 2017, though the idea about this grouping was made in 2007 by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. So Japan's Prime Minister then, Shinzo Abe, actually gave the idea. All the countries also got together, but Australia backed out because of pressure from China, because this group is still seen as anti-China. But 2017, Australia came around, and now this group has been formed. Okay, that's about it. That's all you need to know about the Quad. Now let's straight away jump to second news item, which is Venezuela's poll results. Now, what was in the news? Presidential elections took place in Venezuela, and the official results were declared. And in those official results, the existing president, the incumbent president, Nicolas Maduro, was declared the winner. But the opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, USA, and various other foreign countries have said that the polls were rigged. And this is an unfair election. Okay, the counting was rigged, the elections were rigged. Okay, many countries have cast doubts on the election results. In fact, the opposition candidate has declared victory. Okay, but Maduro is president now, and there are a few countries who are friendly with Venezuela, and they have celebrated Maduro's win. For example, if USA is opposing Nicolas Maduro, then Russia has supported it, Cuba has supported it, Bolivia and Honduras have supported Nicolas Maduro. Okay, now what is important for us from this news item? This is okay, you know this by now. But first of all, from this news, you need to extract important information. First information is about Venezuela. What is Venezuela? Okay, or what are the basic information regarding Venezuela that you need to know? So this is Venezuela's flag. Its geographical location lies on the northern coast of South American continent. Okay, its coastline is shared by Caribbean Sea. All right, so on the north coast of South America. Its capital city is Caracas. Currency is Venezuelan bolivar. Official language is Spanish. Its polity is it is a federal republic, but it follows a presidential system, just like USA. At one point of time, Venezuela was a developed economy. Not developed, but one of the most advanced economies of South America. Okay. It had the largest oil reserves in the world. It had one of the largest gold reserves in the world. It was Latin America's most advanced economy. But since the coming of Nicolas Maduro, he came in 2013. Okay, Venezuela has tanked since his coming. Okay, since he has come in 2013, Venezuela has faced hyperinflation, food shortages, every type of economic crisis that you can imagine. Venezuela has faced it, and that's why many people are dissatisfied with this situation. Now, what was the political situation before these election results? Well, Venezuela plunged into crisis after Maduro's ascent. Like I've told you, since 2013, Venezuela has faced a series of economic crises. Venezuela is dependent on its oil exports because it has a lot of oil reserves. But a few years back, oil prices tanked and Venezuela suffered. Then there were shortages of supply of food, clothing. That's why Venezuela suffered. And then there was hyperinflation. Okay. Plus, when President Trump's administration was in power, they actually levied some sanctions on Venezuela, which also hurt their economy. Okay, the purpose of those sanctions was that Nicolas Maduro should step down because his 2018 election were also disputed. But then Maduro sustained and he sustained these sanctions. Venezuelan economy suffered, but Maduro is still there. Now, Nicolas Maduro is actually a successor to Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez over here. Hugo Chavez was a very charismatic leader of Venezuela, and when he died, he named Nicolas Maduro as his successor in 2013. Okay, their party is United Socialist Party, and he took on the role of president in 2013. All right, that's all you need to know about Venezuela. Now let's jump to our third news item, which is Israel-Hezbollah conflict. Now, what was in the news? As you can see over here in this picture, there is this football field in Golan Heights. Now, Golan Heights is an Israeli occupied territory. Earlier, it was occupied by Lebanon, but now it is under Israel. And there is a Lebanon based militant group called Hezbollah. Now, Israel says that Hezbollah actually fired rockets on this football field in Golan Heights and 12 children have died. Now, Israel blames Hezbollah for this and said that it would strike hard on Hezbollah. They would attack Hezbollah. Hezbollah has denied any responsibility. And even Iran has said that there would be consequences if Israel attacks Hezbollah because Hezbollah was created by Iran. And some people say it is run by Iran also. Now, we need to know first what is Hezbollah. Okay. Now, look, way back in 1982, Israel invaded Lebanon. Now, why did Israel invaded Lebanon? Because Palestine-based terrorists used to seek refuge in Lebanon. Okay, so Palestine-based terrorists used to conduct terrorist attacks in Israel, and they would run to Lebanon. Okay, and Lebanon people were supporting it. So therefore, Israel attacked, invaded Lebanon, occupied their territories in 1982. Now, in response to that, Iran actually created a rebellious group, rebel group called Hezbollah. Okay, so it was founded by Iran's Revolutionary Guards in 1982 to fight Israeli forces that had invaded Lebanon. Now, Hezbollah waged guerrilla war against Israeli forces and forced them to withdraw in 2000. Now, Hezbollah is basically a Lebanese organization. It is a Shia Islamist organization. Why Shia? Because it is backed by Iran, and Iran is a Shia country. Okay. Now, Hezbollah is one of the most powerful member of Iran's proxies. Now, Iran has various proxies in different countries. So, Iran has Houthis in Yemen. Hezbollah in Lebanon, and various other organizations in different countries. This is known as Iran's network, and Iran calls this the axis of resistance. Now, Hezbollah is the most powerful of member of this axis. Okay. Now, what is the history of their conflict, or what is the current conflict? So, Hezbollah declared war on Israel just after October 7 attacks of Hamas on Israel. So, Hamas terrorists actually invaded Israel on parachutes, took hostages, and after that, Israel responded. And because Israel was attacking Palestine, Hezbollah declared war on them. Hezbollah, a Hamas ally, says its attacks aim to support Palestinians who are under Israeli bombardment in Gaza. Hezbollah has clearly stated that we won't stop our attacks until and unless there is a ceasefire in Gaza. Okay, that's all. And last but not the least, RBI's report on currency and finance in 2023-24. Now, this report is different because in its earlier reports, RBI has said that digitization will help India's economy. Digitization of our monetary system will help India's economy. But in this report, RBI has mentioned the problems related to digitization. In the report on currency and finance for 2023-24, RBI said digitization induced changes in behavior of consumers and financial intermediaries like banks can have implications for monetary policy. RBI has accepted that digitization will improve convenience for the people. But digitization has also incentivized impulsive spending by people. People are not ready to save anymore, they just want to spend. Herd behavior by people. Herd behavior means because data is available, because stock market data is easily available online. So people see that many people are buying these stocks, so I should also buy this stock. And this causes herd behavior. Similarly, online, if you get the news that people are withdrawing from this bank, people are withdrawing money from ICICI. So you would also start to withdraw money from ICICI and the ICICI bank would get bankrupt. All right. And online finance has led to creation of digital data, and that digital data actually gives birth to questions related to data privacy. Okay, data is getting leaked. So these are the three major disadvantages of digital finance, okay, or digitization. But first, RBI has made it clear that we are not abandoning digital finance. Okay, we are not abandoning digitization because digitization has few benefits. For example, India's services export would get a boost because of digitization, international payments would get facilitated. Earlier, international payments used to take a lot of time. Now, international payments can take place online very quickly. Plus, UPI type, Google Pay type, Phone Pay type international payments can also take place very quickly because India has joined an international project called Project Nexus. So, Indian services would get or would receive new demand for their services. Okay, Indian services export would increase because foreigners would find it easy to pay for those services. Plus, Indians would easily receive remittances from abroad because of digitization. All right, so these are the benefits, but there are challenges also. First of all, herd behavior. Digital platforms enable quick dissemination of financial trends and choice rapidly across social media. Now, this might lead to mass buying or selling of stocks during market panic. Similarly, depositors may withdraw their money from banks, leading to potential bank runs or failures. Plus, because of digitization, there has been digital data leakages also. Average cost of data breaches in India stood at 2.18 million in 2023, a 28% increase in 2020. The most common attacks in India are phishing attacks, then compromised identity attacks, then scam attacks. People take your OTP by calling you, all these attacks. Plus, they say because of digitization, digital loan apps have come out. Digital lenders have come out. Now, when RBI comes out with its monetary policy, RBI increases interest rates, decreases interest rates, it impacts banks, but it does not impact digital loan apps. Now, suppose RBI wants banks to increase interest rates, so RBI would increase repo rate. Banks would increase interest rates, and there would be decrease in money supply. But tomorrow, RBI will increase repo rate, banks will increase repo rate, but people won't stop borrowing. People would continue their borrowing from digital loan apps. So banks' control over financial intermediaries like banks would get reduced because now people are relying on other avenues for loans. This would hurt RBI's monetary policy. RBI's monetary policies aims, like RBI aims to control inflation through its monetary policy. But when RBI is not in control of its own monetary policy, then that would reduce RBI's power to control inflation, right? So all these things. So these are the three things that RBI has said are the disadvantages of digitization. All right. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure this session added value to your preparation, but it would add more value if you are consistent and regular with this lecture series. All right. On that note, I'll be signing off and I'll see you tomorrow with tomorrow's newspaper. Thank you.